Have you ever wondered to think about the true power of communication? In a world where influence is a valuable currency, many people struggle to make themselves heard, whether in professional or personal environments. But what if I told you that there is an old approach, tested over the centuries, that can transform your way of interacting with others? Today, I will present you 8 powerful tactics of manipulation inspired by Stoic philosophy, one of the most relevant currents of thinking in history. Stoics, such as Marco Aurelio and Epicteto, knew that control over themselves was the key to dealing with the adversities of life. They understood that it is not the external events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. This simple but deep idea serves as the basis for the strategies we will explore in this video. After all, who would not like to learn to control their reactions, improve their relationships, and positively influence people around them? However, before we dive into the tactics, it is worth reflecting on some common problems faced by many people today. Lack of emotional control. How many times have you impulsively reacted to a challenging criticism or situation just to regret it? Difficulty in positively influencing. Have you ever felt that your opinions are not valued, or that something is missing to convince others? Interpersonal conflicts. Personal or professional relationships can be harmed by lack of empathy or bad communication. If these questions sound familiar, this video was made especially for you. In the next few minutes, you will learn how to apply modern Stoic principles to solve these problems and more. Get ready to find out how to use silence as a strategic weapon, shape reality through the right framing, and even turn failures into growth opportunities. Now that you know what's coming, let's start with the first tactic: emotional control, the art of not reacting. First tactics: emotional control, the art of not reacting. Imagine the following scene. You are in an important meeting, presenting your main idea for a group of colleagues. Suddenly, someone does an aggressive criticism or disregards their work in front of everyone. How do you react? Most people impulsively can defend themselves emotionally, raising their voice or even closing completely. But here is the secret. Stoics teach us that our answer is our greatest weapon. Emotional control is undoubtedly one of the most powerful skills we can develop. According to Epicteto, it is not the events that disturb us, but our interpretations of them. This means that we have the power to decide how we will react to situations, regardless of how challenging they may seem. Instead of allowing our emotions to take care, we can choose to take a deep breath, analyze the situation clearly, and respond strategically. But how to put this into practice? Let's explore a practical example. Suppose you get an unfair criticism at work. Instead of being carried away by anger or frustration, you can apply the Stoic principle of reflective pause. First, recognize your emotions without judging them. So breathe deeply and ask yourself, what is really happening here? What are my final goals? In doing so, you gain time to formulate a balanced and constructive response, showing maturity and professionalism. The benefit of this approach goes beyond simple conflict management. When controlling your emotions, you avoid impulsive reactions that can damage your image. Demonstrates mental resilience, which increases your trust and credibility. Creates space for creative solutions and productive dialogues. Remember, true power is not in avoiding emotions, but in knowing how to deal with them. With this ability, you will be prepared to face any situation calmly and efficiently. Now that you understand the importance of emotional control, let's move on to the next tactic: active listening, the weight of silence. The second tactics: active listening, the weight of silence. If emotional control is the basis for effective communication, then active listening is the next step towards building truly significant relationships. For the Stoic, the present moment is sacred, and nothing better captures this concept than to give full attention to the other during a conversation. As an Epicteto said, "We have 2 ears and a mouth so that we can hear twice as much as we speak." This ancient wisdom still resonates powerfully in our modern interactions. But what does it really mean, listening actively? It is not just listening to the words someone says. It is understanding the emotional context behind them, reflecting on what has been said and responding authentically and empathically. In a world where many are more concerned with formulating their next response than in absorbing what is being shared, active listening becomes a rare and valuable ability. Let's explore a practical example. Imagine that you are in a conversation with a co-worker who is facing difficulties in an important project. Instead of interrupting or offering immediate solutions, practice active listening. Ask open questions. How can I help? Or what is being more challenging to you now? In doing so, you demonstrate genuine interest and create a safe space for the person to express themselves without judgments. Also, use strategic breaks. Silence may be uncomfortable at first, but it allows the other to reflect and express deeper thoughts. When you finally answer, do it clearly and respectfully, reinforcing your understanding of the other person's emotions and needs. The benefits of this approach are numerous. Build confidence and empathy, strengthening relationships, encourages deeper and more significant dialogues, reduces misunderstandings and conflicts caused by lack of communication. Active listening is not just a technical skill. It is one way to honor the other and value their perspectives. By mastering it, you become a more present and influential person in your social interactions. With this tactic in mind, we will advance to the next step: frame, how to shape reality. Third tactics: framing, how to shape reality. Now that you've learned how to listen empathically and actively, let's explore an even more powerful tactic: phrase, that is, the art of shaping reality through the way we present our ideas. Stoics understood that the way we frame events and situations have a direct impact on how they are perceived. As Marco Aurelio wrote in his thoughts, "Everything we see in life is just opinion, not fact." This means that we have the power to redefine narratives and create perspectives that inspire positive action. Framing is not manipulation in the negative sense. It is a strategic tool for communicating their ideas clearly and convincingly, making them more accessible and understandable to others. Imagine that you are trying to implement a significant change in your team or organization. Instead of simply listing the challenges involved, you can highlight the opportunities and benefits this change will bring. This approach transforms something potentially threatening into something motivating. Let's go to a practical example. Suppose you need to propose an increase in the costs of a project to ensure higher results. Instead of saying, "It will cost more money than we expected," you can reformulate the message as, "This additional investment will ensure that we deliver a higher product, increasing our competitiveness in the market." By changing the frame, you focus on advantages rather than limitations, making your proposal more attractive. This technique also works in personal contexts. For example, if you are dealing with failure, you can redefine it as an opportunity for learning. Instead of saying, "I made a mistake," try, "It showed me where I need to improve." The benefits of framing include greater influence on the perceptions of others, greater acceptance of ideas and proposals, transformation of adversity into opportunities. With this ability, you can shape not only your own perspectives, but also those around you. Now we advance to the next tactic: acceptance of what cannot be controlled, the strength of surrender. Fourth tactics: acceptance of what cannot be controlled, the strength of surrender. After learning how we frame our ideas to positively influence others, the time has come for us to address one of the most important lessons of Stoic philosophy: to accept what cannot be controlled. This tactic may seem contrary to first sight, especially in a world where we are constantly encouraged to fight obstacles. However, the Stoics teach us that our energy must be directed only to what is under our control, as we learn to live peacefully with the rest. Marco Aurelio summarizes this perfectly in his work, Meditations. Do not disturb you what is outside your power. Focus on what you can do. By practicing this acceptance, you dramatically reduce stress and gain mental clarity to focus on real solutions. Imagine, for example, that you are dealing with a difficult client or facing an inevitable delay in a project. Instead of frustrating with something out of your control, ask yourself, what can I do now to improve the situation? Perhaps it is to adjust your expectations, adapt your plan, or simply keep calm while waiting for events to unfold. This change of mindset transforms moments of anxiety into opportunities to demonstrate resilience. Let's explore a practical example. Suppose you are working on a collaborative project and realize that another team member is not fulfilling your responsibilities. Instead of wasting time blaming or trying to force changes that are out of reach, focus on what you can offer. Focus on delivering your part with excellence, adapt to circumstances, and seek constructive ways to support the group without compromising their emotional health. The benefits of this approach are clear. Significant reduction in stress by eliminating unnecessary concerns. Greater mental clarity to solve concrete problems. Strengthening resilience by viewing adversity with serenity. By accepting what cannot be controlled, you not only preserve your energy, but it also creates room to find creative and effective solutions. With this ability developed, let's move on to the next tactic: strategic use of silence, the power of the unspoken. Fifth tactics: strategic use of silence, the power of not said. In the rush of everyday life, we often feel compelled to fill every moment of conversation with words, forgetting that silence can be one of the most impactful forms of communication. For the Stoic, silence is much more than a break. It is an opportunity for reflection, clarity, and strategic influence. As an Epicteto said, "Who speaks a lot says something bad." This does not mean that we should avoid talking, but that we should choose our words carefully and learn to value the space between them. The strategic use of silence can be applied in various situations, from negotiations to times of conflict. When you allow yourself to be silent, it creates a vacuum that forces others to reflect or even reveal more about themselves. This feature is especially useful when you need to better evaluate the situation before responding or want to give the other the chance to share crucial information. Let's explore a practical example. Imagine that you are negotiating an important contract. After making your initial proposal, instead of immediately justifying or arguing, keep a quiet silence. This may seem uncomfortable at first, but often leads the other side to fill the space with valuable or counter-proposed information that you have not obtained if you had kept talking. In addition, silence demonstrates confidence and security, two essential qualities in any negotiation. Silence is also a powerful tool in interpersonal relationships. During an emotional discussion, for example, stopping and breathing before responding avoids impulsive reactions and allows emotions to calm down naturally. This creates a more conducive environment for constructive solutions. The benefits of strategic use of silence include space for reflection and decision-making, subtle influence on social interactions, reduction of misunderstandings caused by excessive speech. By mastering this ability, you become a more conscious and strategic person in your communications. With this in mind, we advance to the next tactic: behavior modeling, leadership by example. Sixth tactics: behavior modeling, leadership for example. Now that you've learned how to use silence as a strategic tool, it's time to explore another powerful way to influence others: behavior modeling. For Stoic, authenticity and coherence are fundamental. As an Epictet said, don't just say what you are, but it shows. In other words, instead of trying to convince people with words, inspire them through their actions. Behavior modeling is especially relevant in leadership contexts, whether at work or in personal relationships. When you act according to your values and principles, you create an example that others naturally want to follow. This does not mean imposing your vision, but to demonstrate, through your own conduct, how things can be done more effectively and ethically. Let's explore a practical example. Imagine that you are leading a team in a challenging project. Instead of simply requiring members' dedication and commitment, show these qualities in itself. Work hard, keep a good mood even in the face of difficulties, and always be willing to help when necessary. These small gestures speak much louder than any order or verbal instruction. Your colleagues will perceive your posture and probably align themselves with your example. This tactic also works in interpersonal situations. For example, if you want to build deeper relationships, calculate vulnerability and active listening. By showing that you value the genuine connection, you will inspire others to do the same. Behavior modeling benefits include positive influence without the need for direct persuasion, creation of a culture based on confidence and mutual respect, strengthening sense of responsibility and engagement in others. By acting as a living model of behavior, you become a transforming force in any environment where you are inserted. Now we advance to the next tactic, perspective refraction. Transform failures into lessons. Seventh tactics, perspective refraction. Transform failures into lessons. Whether in personal or professional life, we all face moments of failure. However, the Stoics teach us that these moments do not need to be seen as definitive defeats. On the contrary, they can become valuable opportunities for growth and learning. This ability to comply with our perspective is crucial to developing a resilient and transformative mindset. As Marco Aurelio wrote, "All that happens is learning." As we adopt this vision, we begin to see errors and obstacles as necessary steps on the way to success. Instead of stopping by the negative result, we can extract lessons that strengthen our ability to overcome and innovation. Let's explore a practical example. Imagine that you just led a project that did not get the expected results. Instead of focusing only on failures, ask yourself, what can I learn from it? Where could I have acted differently? Perhaps it was lacking clear communication with the team, or perhaps the established goals were poorly realistic. Regardless of the cause, by critically analyzing the situation, you turn failure into an opportunity for continuous improvement. This approach can also be applied in interpersonal situations. For example, if you have made a mistake in an important relationship, use it as a starting point to grow emotionally. Recognize your part in the situation, apologize genuinely, and show that you are committed to avoiding repeating the same behavior in the future. The benefits of perspective refraction include cultivation of a growth mindset, emotional resilience in the face of challenges, transformation of adversities into learning opportunities. By changing the way we see failures, we gain strength to face new challenges with greater confidence and wisdom. With this developed ability, let's move forward for the last tactic, calculated authenticity, strategic vulnerability. Eighth tactics, calculated authenticity, strategic vulnerability. We arrived at the last tactic of this video, and perhaps one of the most powerful, calculated authenticity. Although vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, Stoic people understood that it can be used strategically to strengthen relationships and build confidence. As an Epicteto said, "Be honest with yourself first, and then to others." This means that true strength is not in hiding its imperfections, but in sharing them consciously and intentionally. Calculated authenticity is not about exposing all indiscriminately. It is about choosing the right moment and the right depth to reveal aspects of yourself that help create genuine connections. When you show vulnerability strategically, it allows others to feel safe to do the same by promoting a mutual confidence environment. Let's explore a practical example. Imagine that you are leading a team that makes it difficult to achieve your goals. Instead of presenting yourself as infallible or distant, share a personal experience in which you have also undergone similar challenges. For example, I felt that way before, when I needed to learn something new quickly. It was difficult at the beginning, but I found ways to overcome it. This approach shows that you understand the team's concerns and are willing to walk with them. This technique also works in interpersonal relationships. By opening yourself in a controlled manner about your own insecurities or difficult experiences, you create space for the other to do the same. This strengthens emotional ties and promotes deeper communication. The benefits of calculated authenticity include creation of genuine and lasting connections, construction of confidence and mutual respect, demonstration of humility and vulnerability as forces, not weaknesses. By practicing this ability, you become a more authentic and influential person, able to inspire others without losing your authority. With that in mind, we reach the end of our journey through the Stoic tactics of ethical manipulation. Now let's reflect on everything we have learned. We have reached the end of this journey through the 8 powerful tactics of manipulation inspired by Stoic philosophy. Throughout this video, we explore practical tools that can be applied to both the professional environment and interpersonal relationships. From emotional control to calculated authenticity, each tactic has been designed to help you communicate more effectively, strengthen your relationships, and positively influence others. Let's quickly recap what we have learned. 1. Emotional control, the art of not reacting. Learning to manage your emotions is critical to avoiding impulsive reactions and keeping calm in challenging situations. 2. Active listening, the weight of silence. When listening with intention, you create deeper connections and demonstrate genuine interest in others. 3. Framing, how to shape reality, reformulates your ideas to make them more convincing and accessible. 4. Acceptance of what cannot be controlled, the force of surrender. Focus only on what is under your control and let go the rest. 5. Strategic use of silence, the power of the not saying. Use silence as a powerful weapon to reflect and subtly influence. 6. Behavior modeling, leadership by example. Inhale others through their own actions. 7. Perspective refraction. Turn failures into lessons. See adversities as growth opportunities. 8. Calculated authenticity. Strategic vulnerability. Reveals vulnerabilities consciously to strengthen connections. These tactics are not just theoretical concepts. They are practical tools that can be applied immediately to your daily life. By mastering them, you will become more resilient, confident, and able to positively influence the people around you. Remember, the true power of ethical manipulation is using it for good, both for yourself and others. Each of these tactics can transform your communication, improve your relationships, and amplify your influence. Now the question is, which one will you apply first? If you enjoyed this content, subscribe to more videos about personal development, leadership, and wisdom. And don't forget to share this video with someone who needs to learn these powerful tactics. Until next time.